You ever meet somebody and within days, it feels like your nervous system already knows them? Not because they're healthy, not because they're safe, not because they're aligned, but because your wounds have met this energy before. You call it chemistry, you call it fate, you call it we just clicked. But sometimes your survival patterns recognized each other. And this all happened before your hearts did. And the dangerous part is familiarity can feel like
Scorphenegle, Scorphenegle. Go make we do this Scorphenegle. We are gonna take back for real, take back for real. Go make we do this Scorphenegle. We are gonna take back for real. Scorphenegle, break every chain. Scorphenegle, take back for real.
welcome back to SUITT and Boot, standing up in truth, transformation, and breaking out of trauma. Now, we just did 2 Scorphenegle workshops, right? We did the 2 Scorphenegle Switch workshop, and you can find those live on demand, live streaming, and you can get them on the website at scorphenegle.com. That is scorphenegle.com. It's right here, right? And I also did 2 workshops, and they're 2 unique workshops. And, the workshop wasn't just people sitting there. We played games, we did things, and it's very interesting. It's very, eye-opening. I realized some things while I was doing the workshop. We have had some people in the workshop, they DM'd me and told me how exciting and how fun it was. So, they've also told me that it wasn't personality, it was survival, and how survival can wear a beautiful outfit, right? I've been talking about a lot in the workshop, how survival can wear a suit, how survival can wear makeup, and how survival can have degrees. You can be surviving in your relationships, your marriage, anything, you're in survival mode. And sometimes it looks like you're successful. But underneath that success, we're in survival mode. We're still reacting. And then sometimes we can think that we're aware because we think that once we're aware, that awareness is going to just magically make us heal. But awareness alone doesn't heal. Awareness is only half the battle. And I talked about that. And we're talked about that in the workshop as well. And, we talked about a lot of things. Now, we have been talking about relationships, mother wounds, father wounds, and what happens when a woman with a father wound meets a man with a mother wound. That's what we're going to talk about tonight here. We're going to link them together because, honey, baby, whoo, that combination right there, that's a doozy. That'll have everybody writing some poetry, crying in the park, blocking each other on social media. Okay. So let me tell you, and then unblocking again. Okay. So it's a serious thing. This mother wound, father wound dynamic, right? I'm telling you, we'll have you listening to Jasmine Sullivan at 2 o'clock in the morning talking about twin flames. And meanwhile, your nervous system are in a hostage negotiation. It's like, you felt it before. Now, the father wound. Let's start here. Because I discussed that, in my other episodes where I talk about the father wound. Now, father wound does not always mean that your father physically left. I grew up my entire life living with my father. Sometimes your father stays and you still have a wound, but he's emotionally unavailable. He's distant, maybe even critical. Mine wasn't, but sometimes that can happen. Cold. Mine wasn't, but could be. Unpredictable. Oh, yeah, I felt that. Or maybe you spent your life trying to earn validation from a man who could never emotionally see you. So now you grow up and you become highly functioning. You're just hyper independent. You're so strong. You're very productive. You're reliable. You become the woman everybody depends on. The woman who can carry everything. Let me tell you something. You get a lot of praises for it. So you're going to keep doing it because you're getting a tap on the shoulder. You're getting, good job, Tshai. But here's the clincher. Nobody asked why you learned to carry so much in the first place. You didn't become strong because life inspired you. No, you became strong because survival recruited you. So now in relationships, you overgive, overexplain, overcompensate, overstay, overbecome. You become the ride or die chick or the ride or die guy. Not because it's healthy, but because somewhere deep, deep inside, you think love must be earned. You think if you love hard enough, if you understand enough, sacrifice enough, then eventually somebody will choose you fully. And that's where the danger begins. Uh-huh. Now, let's talk about the mother wound in men. We spoke about this last time, right? On the last episode. And if you haven't watched that yet, go back and watch that episode. Now, the men, the men with the mother wounds are deeply misunderstood. Absolutely. People think a mother wound means, oh, his mom was terrible. No, absolutely not. Negative, ghostwriter. Sometimes she loved him too deeply. Sometimes too deeply. And sometimes he became emotionally responsible for her. Sometimes he had to become the man too early. Sometimes his emotions had to orbit, circling around hers. And sometimes love became obligation, performance, caretaking, emotional labor, reading the room, scanning everything, keeping the peace. So now he becomes a man who wants love, but intimacy feels very heavy. Oh, exhausting. He wants connection until the connection comes to him. Then suddenly he needs space. Because closeness starts activating that pressure, the responsibility, the expectations, emotional demand. And you know what? He doesn't even realize why he's running from you. Yep. Now picture this. This is where the movie begins. The woman with the father wound, the man with the mother wound, and the beginning. A beautiful love story. Ah, the chemistry is insane. The talking all night. The deep conversations. The I've never opened up like this before. The you just understand me. You get me. The where have you been all my life? Because wounded people often feel deeply seen by wounded people. Why? Because familiar feels safe. even when familiar hurts. Now, you said, I've known him forever. Your nervous system says, I've survived this before. Now, watch the dance. She wants reassurance. He feels pressure. So he pulls back. She feels abandoned. So he reaches harder. So she reaches in harder. Now he's overwhelmed. So he pulls further away. What a sinting. She starts overthinking, analyzing, questioning, chasing clarity. Talk to me. What's wrong? Are you okay? And now both people are activated. And what do we get once we get that activation? There's a push and a pull, and a push and a pull. Relationship cardio at its finest. We're burning calories here, boo-boo. And we're going nowhere. It's exhausting. It's really exhausting. And how do I know? I lived it. And honestly, looking back at my own marriage, I see it so clearly now. And I couldn't see it then. Isn't that funny? I had a father wound. I'm trying to heal. I wanted connection, security, safety, protection, partnership, consistency. I wanted emotional safety. I said that already because it's important. And because of my patterns, I overfunctioned. I carried things. I stayed too long. I held things together. I worked harder. I loved harder. I tried harder. I thought, if I just give enough, eventually there would be a reward at the end of the dance. Let's do the tango. Meanwhile, he had wounds too. And what happens in these situations, in these relationships? Nobody realizes they're showing up with emotional baggage. I mean, honestly, I said baggage, but it's really luggage, right? And it's matching. It's a set. One for me, one for you. And nobody checked them at the door. Sometimes Sometimes you're not arguing with your partner. You're arguing with wounds that existed before you met each other. Isn't that ironic? And what we don't realize is we're in the middle of the dance, especially when we're in it. Now, what is activation versus love? And this is the part people don't want to hear. I didn't want to hear it for sure. Sometimes what you call passion is activation. Sometimes what you call chemistry, wait for it, it's anxiety. Oh, yeah. Sometimes what you call love is survival, trying to recreate something familiar. You know, those butterflies, they're not always romance. Sometimes your nervous system is sounding an alarm. Wah, wah. Beep, beep. And because the relationship has highs and lows, your brain mistakes intensity for depth. So now the relationship becomes addictive. The push and the pull becomes addictive. You want it. You're yearning for it. The inconsistency becomes addictive. The emotional chase is like a drug. And now you're exhausted and calling it love. Now, are you tired yet? I certainly was. And, you know, some of this is what we started to unpack in the Scorphenegle switch workshop. We were trying to take back our reign. That's the goal, because we have to go through the sections. And one of the biggest realizations people had in the workshop was this. I thought this was just who I was. They thought it was their personality. So did I. For years and years and years, I did it because I was with my high school sweetheart. But no, baby, that's not your personality. Those are survival patterns, adaptation, a protective system, ways your mind learned to survive environments that did not suit you. That's why I created Scorphenegle. And essentially, if you ask me, I didn't really create Scorphenegle. Scorphenegle created me. Because I kept on trying to heal behavior without understanding the pattern. I lived my life weaving through it. But what is underneath the behavior? What's there? Now, let me tell you what Scorphenegle is. Scorphenegle asks you which part of you is driving, which part of you is moving you, which part of you is propelling you through life. Is it your scorpion protection, which is your survival mode, your control, your holding on, your fear of loss? That's your scorpion survival, right? Or is it your eagle that's driving you, your awareness? And remember, what did G.I. Joe says? Now you know, but knowing is half the battle, right? When you're observing, when you're overthinking, when you're analyzing everything, and there's a red flag, but you're still staying. So is your ego driving you? Or is it your phoenix, your transformation? Do you want to change? Is it your intensity, your emotional combustion? Are you trying to save everything, fix everything, resurrect everything? And here's the problem. Most people think awareness is healing. It's not. As I said, it is only the beginning. It is half the battle. G.I. Joe said it best. But awareness without movement, that's just another survival mode. That's just suffering with subtitles. That's just, you're suffering, boo-boo. You got the answer? No, not yet. You just know what you're going through. What you gonna do about it? Your relationship may not be broken, but your patterns may be running it. And until you identify the pattern, you'll keep confusing survival for love. You'll keep calling anxiety chemistry. You'll keep calling familiar destiny. You'll keep calling familiar destiny. And maybe for the first time, it's time to stop asking, why do I keep attracting this? And the better question is, what part of me keeps choosing familiar pain? Because the healing is not just becoming aware. Healing is making a different choice when your survival pattern wants the old familiar. That old familiar feeling. Do you want to know what pattern you're in or what your survival pattern is? Take the free quiz. at Scorphenegle.com. And let me just tell you, it is time for you to find out whether you're operating through instincts, insight, or ignition. And if you're ready to go deeper, join us for the next Scorphenegle Switch workshop. Go to Scorphenegle.com and then click on the Scorphenegle Switch workshop. From survival to sovereignty. Because you cannot break a chain you refuse to see. I'm Tshai Wright, and this is SUITT and Boot, standing up in truth, transformation, and breaking out of trauma, from scorpion to eagle to phoenix, where we Scorphenegle. Thank you. Until next time. Take back your in, break every chin. It's time.